night, ladies and gentlemen. UNC family, how you feeling? You ready for election? Send a signal to Rowley, call it now. Political leader of United National Congress, my brothers and sisters all, I wish you in these difficult times and circumstances a good night. Now I know that economics is not a sexy thing, and that many of you, when you start hearing about the state of the economy, when you start hearing about inflation, when you start hearing about interest rates, foreign debt, etc., you turn up your nose and you turn away. But you need to pay attention tonight, because the economy impacts the lives of every single citizen of this country. Every single aspect of your life is impacted by the state of the economy, ladies and gentlemen. From food prices, to crime, to drainage, to employment, to infrastructure like roads and bridges, your quality and standard of life is impacted by the economy, and you need to pay attention to that. I don't have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that our country is facing multiple crises, including a severe crime wave, drug shortages, equipment and staff shortages in the healthcare system, school violence, and increasing poverty. You know that. And it seems that the only people who don't know that is Stuart Young, Keith Rowley, Imbert, and their band of privileged, incompetent fools. And this is all directly related, ladies and gentlemen, to the collapse of the economy at the hands of Rowley, Stuart Young, Imbert, and their gang. You see, when our economy grows, sustainable jobs are created, ladies and gentlemen. People are able to generate an income to feed their families, to send their children to school. Businesses are created. Persons are encouraged to invest their incomes and further grow the economy. There's a sense of confidence and hope that feeds on itself and propels the economy forward, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what we had in 2010 to 2015, when the economy of Trinidad and Tobago grew by upwards of 7%. And this country saw development across the board, from every single sector, every single corner of this country, from Icacos to Tancoo, from Guayari to Chaguanas, from Crown Point to Charlottesville. Even Keith Christopher Rowley admitted that the period 2010 to 2015 were the good years. And we were able to do that, ladies and gentlemen, because we had a leader and a team with a vision for this country, to rescue this country. And today we have the very same leader with an even better team, waiting now for Rowley to ring the bell. You see, a strong economy, ladies and gentlemen, is the backbone of a nation, supporting healthcare, education, infrastructure, and so much more. When a country's economy is robust, it enables the government to allocate resources efficiently, ensuring that social sector spending is facilitated, it's well-funded and easily accessible. A flourishing economy attracts investment so that we can grow and grow and grow. It creates jobs, ladies and gentlemen. Maintaining economic stability, therefore, is very critical for the overall development of any country. And that's why I'm asking you all to pay attention. Because in the last 9.5, going into 10 years, that is not what we got. We got crisis after crisis with the economy shrinking. Between 2015 and today, the economy has shrunk by 20%. You know what that means? That means that the output of the country, what we produce as a nation, has grown smaller by 20%. Only the PNM could have spent over $570 billion and try to fool you into thinking that your lives get better. But I know and you know the truth, because we live in this country. We know what the reality is. Every man jack, except the PNM, catching the nenen. Alright? Not at all, ladies and gentlemen. Ask yourself, though, why that happened. Because it was not because they didn't have the money. It was not because they didn't have the people. It was not because they didn't have the hope of the country. They had all of that. They just refused to do the right thing because they don't care about you. And I want you all to remember that this PNM government does not care about the citizens of this country. You know, we have a popular saying in this country, made popular: a government must be for the people, of the people, and by the people. You know that saying? for the people, of the people, and by the people. In Trinidad and Tobago, what we have is a government of the 1%, for the 1%, and by the 1%. That good? Let me make it clear, ladies and gentlemen, because there are mischief makers outside here. Let me make it clear. The 1% is not a race. It is a group of persons who are bleeding this country dry for their own benefit. They don't care about the citizens. They don't care about our children. They don't care about the future of the country. All they care about is their pocket. That is the 1%. And yes, Keith Christopher Rowley, Stuart Young, Faris Alwawi, Colm Imbert, A.G. Reginald Amor, 1%, 1%, 1%, all of them are 1%. And they run this country, ladies and gentlemen, for the benefit of their friends, their family, and the financiers. Not you. They tell you, tighten your belt, wean yourself off the government, ban your belly. They tell poor people lining up for hampers, for food to feed their children, that they're greedy, not needy. While they, the PNM, manipulate the resources of this country for their own personal benefit. They insist that you don't need a proper wage, take 4% on nothing, but giving themselves a salary increase of 47%. That is the PNM. They refuse to increase old age pension for normal citizens, but they bring legislation to the parliament to block you from getting a pension if you manage to sacrifice and save over 65 years at $25,000 in your bank account. That is the PNM. But Rowley making sure that while you can't get your pension because you have $25,000 in the bank, while you can't get it, he carrying home $87,000. That is for him, for his pension, but is that good enough for you, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself why. They threaten you with court. My brother just raised it. They threaten you with court to seize your property if you don't pay their vicious property tax. But given their big business friends, tax amnesty after tax amnesty after tax amnesty. Pressure for you, jail for you, but for them, nothing. That is PNM legacy. Nothing for you but Faris and Young walking in and out of cabinet because they have conflicts of interest. They have friends and family who get in millions of dollars in contracts from the government. Under the PNM, ladies and gentlemen, Trinidad and Tobago has become like George Orwell's Animal Farm. You know what Animal Farm is about? Like George Orwell's Animal Farm. One law for them and another law for the rest of us. With the pigs led by their own Napoleon, feeding at the trough while the middle class are driven into poverty and the poor starve and suffer. There's a statement that we must never forget, ladies and gentlemen. It has been used before in these platforms. You must never forget it. And it was said by the Prime Minister. You know what he said? We have to allow the rich to get richer for the poor to get a job. You see, they're not concerned about the poor lifting themselves, you know. They're concerned about feeding you the crumbs, and you're supposed to be happy with that. Are you happy with that? Think about the Kamla Prasad Bisesa administration in 2010 to 2015, where new companies were set up, young people were given opportunities, small and medium-sized businesses grew, ladies and gentlemen, but not under the PNM. Put that in context, ladies and gentlemen. Under the PNM, small and medium-sized businesses must suffer. That is why during COVID, over 6,000 small and medium-sized businesses closed down. Over 6,000 because the government did nothing to provide for them. But my people are resilient people, ladies and gentlemen. And during COVID, still, people were able to create new jobs, new industries, depending on foreign exchange and credit card. New services were created. Government said, no. Input come and say, no. Online tax for you. Online tax for you. Even if you are buying necessities online tax for you because they don't want you to use the foreign exchange. You think that's right? But when they realized even then, that they didn't mash up the small and medium-sized businesses, you know what they come and do? They and their friends come and raise the limit, they and their friends come and lower the limit that you could buy on your credit card. Because they're still trying to mash down the small and medium-sized business, ladies and gentlemen. People who started the businesses out of their pockets, out of their small savings. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of encouraging small business development, this government has been shooting it down. Instead of trying to assist small and medium-sized businesses, average regular citizens to grow themselves so that we don't have to depend on the state, this government has been finding every possible way of mashing them down. And the best example of that, ladies and gentlemen, is how they have treated with this foreign exchange issue. Do you know that Keith Rowley, Coleman Booth, well, the 1% in the 1% in the government knows that there are disparities in the allocation of foreign exchange. Do you think that they would not know that? They are very well aware of it. 1 year ago, in fact, more than a year ago, Coleman would say, yes, there's a problem, and we're going to meet with the business community, we're going to meet with the small and medium-sized enterprises, we're going to meet with all the interest groups, and we'll find a solution. A year and a half has passed, and nothing has been done. You know why? Guess where that money going? Guess where that money going? The same 1% being fed by this government, getting the foreign exchange. If you want to get transparency and allocation efficiency in foreign exchange in this country, there's only one way to do it. Get rid of this corrupt bunch of P&M sycophants. That's the only way. After 10 years, they have not done it. You think they're going to do it now? And let me caution you again. We are in a foreign exchange crisis. Today, we have, if you add the national foreign debt, or foreign debt, to our foreign reserves, we end up with a figure of about 38 million US dollars. That is the equivalent of 1 day's foreign exchange holdings. 1 day. 1 day. When Kamala Persad-Bissessar left government, there was 11 months of foreign exchange holdings in their hands. Today, it is 1 day. We are in a serious foreign exchange crisis. And you know, when we raised that with the government, you know what the government said? Keith Rowley said, well, we had to borrow. Imbert said, no, there's no foreign exchange crisis, but everybody here know that. And you know that there's a foreign exchange crisis? If you're trying to get $1 US, you're in crisis. You can't get $1. You have to line up in the bank and beg somebody and hope that somebody feels sorry for you to get a US dollar. And then the same central bank that have all the money, central bank come in and tell you, you know, if you get money foreign exchange from your friend and your family, you're committing a crime and you can get charged. Everything is wrong with how this government has treated with the citizens of this country and how they have allocated the resources of this country to the benefit of us, citizens of this country. All you feeling good? All you don't realize what this government doing yet? If they're not focused on feeding you, if they're not focused on improving the quality and standard of your living, who they're catering for? 1%. Because they are part of the 1%. And if they are part of the problem, ladies and gentlemen, they will never fix it. So the only way to fix it, ladies and gentlemen, is to get rid of this government. That's the only way to fix it. And you know, as I'm on it, there's the next thing that they're doing. So they have a foreign exchange crisis. They're borrowing till they're dead. They're borrowing on top of your head. You have to pay that back. It's tax on you and tax on you and tax on you because they're creating no new revenue streams. But now they start to sell off state assets. They're rushing now on the eve of an election to sell off Petrotrin. That's not all. They're rushing now on the eve of an election to sell off substantial land holdings in Invaders Bay. Why do you think they're rushing now? They know they curtail book. So they're rushing now to cover up their tracks. I want to put people on notice today from this platform. I want to put you on notice from today on this platform. Public servants, pay attention, please. Our UNC government will investigate every single one of these transactions. And who guilty will spend time in jail, ladies and gentlemen. Stop thieving from now. Stop it. Ladies and gentlemen, we have developed a saying. When the UNC wins, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, when the UNC wins, everybody wins. We know it from experience because we did it before in 2010 to 2015. When the UNC wins, everybody wins. When the UNC wins, roads throughout the country get repaired. When the UNC wins, drainage infrastructure is built to deal with flooding. When the UNC wins, crime drops. When the UNC wins, schools are better maintained. There are more scholarships, technology, laptops in schools, and children have the opportunity to go to their fullest potential. When the UNC wins, businesses flourishes. New industries are created. Tens of thousands of real sustainable jobs are made, ladies and gentlemen. When the UNC wins, there's a fair and transparent, equitable distribution of the nation's foreign exchange. When the UNC wins, ladies and gentlemen, everybody wins. Say it with me. When the UNC wins, everybody wins. When the UNC wins, everybody wins. So ladies and gentlemen, let us do this now. Let us commit to work as hard as we can to make sure that the UNC wins, because as you know, it is the only way to save this country. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night. God bless you.